Hey everybody, welcome to the MGF Podcast. This is episode 18 of the show with a temporary name where we talk movies, games, Lego, TV shows, and whatever else. And joining me as always, once again, is Tait.
Hey guys, we're back. Took a little hiatus, but life
Yeah,
happens.
we kind of dipped unannounced because I didn't coordinate with Tait properly to be like, hey, Tate's got to F off to Wyoming for a couple weeks. Maybe we should pre-record something.
Yeah, and then
And
also the
then,
week before I left, there was literally nothing to talk about. So,
yeah, there was that too. So,
yeah, so whoops.
but
But here we are.
we're back. Hi, how are you? How you doing? So to start off, uh, the Avengers Endgame showcase. It pains me to say it, but still need a little more time to finish up Captain America and the Iron Man Mark 85. I've still got to finish the back of Captain America, paint two lines on the top of his helmet and the back of his shield, his broken shield, and the back and the entirety of all the detail on Mjolnir. And then with the Mark 85, I still have the legs to paint and the back of the torso and Tony's HUD and the regular pair of hands. So I'm falling behind. I've been behind for a while, honestly, but it's not like I work on the figures every day. However, the showcase is not coming out by the end of the month, unfortunately. However, it will be here still with us this summer in August, within the first week or so of August. And that is the current plan. As always, subject to change because these dates usually do. But I appreciate you guys bearing with me and being so patient, especially you, Tait. My boy, my lizard man over here, been waiting so long for those endgame
Dude,
figures.
I am about to sculpt Thanos myself. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm gonna just do it out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, speaking of Thanos, I do have a video going up today that's gonna be comparing my Infinity War Thanos to a knockoff that was made by a Chinese company, I believe. And I actually bought one and decided to do a video on it, regardless of the
Yeah.
ethics. I thought it was just really interesting, and
Dude,
so that video is going up in an hour, actually, at 3 o'clock Eastern. So,
how
but
predatory are these companies? I mean, come
it's
on.
yeah.
How
Listen, man,
predatory are they?
it's weird because it's not like I made the video because these guys over there, contacted me and I'm secretly no. I mean, I bought them off eBay like anybody else, even though it's ripped off my design because I thought it's cool and just interesting. As awful as it is, it's also kind of cool because it's just a really weird experience to have. And it's not really, and it's such an isolated experience too. Not many people have their designs ripped off by these companies. It happened to I think my buddy Andrew once and a couple other people who I know. Um,
It happened to me, dude. They stole my play the Thanos.
but yeah, and so I got one and I opened it and it was interesting and I looked at it and I was like, even though this is a ripoff, even though it's really shady that these companies do this for cheap profit with these cheap figures that they make over there, I also know that if I wasn't a customizer, if I wasn't who I am, I probably would have bought it. I mean, they're so cheap, and it only takes a couple weeks to get there, and you get the full Infinity Gauntlet and a more accurate looking Thanos, even if the printing is really low quality. Um, but yeah, you'll see that video later today in a little under an hour. But as for the rest of what's in that picture, by the way, that picture is actually inverted. That happened last time. I don't know why that keeps happening. But that picture is actually totally inverted.
I
And
fixed
in
it
that,
on the stream.
oh, did you fix it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't worry.
But in that photo, I've got the Cap and the Iron Man Mark 85 there, along with Black Widow and the progress I've got on her at the moment, along with Rescue. This is all stuff that's already gone up over on Patreon for the most part. And Rescue, I did start on a while ago, but I'm not going to be finishing until I actually work through the main Avengers first and Thanos. And then the cap that you see in that photo, the unmasked cap. So that's a combination of things. That's actually a Quantum Realm suit done by a seller in Hong Kong who pad prints their own designs, very high quality collector's item, type minifigures. And it's really cool, man. It's all pad printing, metallic white printing. The red isn't as vibrant as I think it could be, but the point is, I ordered one really expensive, but I ordered one because they look really cool and the printing's really awesome. I could take inspiration from my own Quantum Realm suits that I'll make eventually. And then I took the new Chris Evans head from the Phoenix Customs World War II Captain America, which is the first
A phenomenal
ever,
figure.
like,
By the way.
yeah, the first ever Captain America Chris Evans head that actually nails his likeness. I was never able to do it with paint, and I never saw anybody else in the community who was ever able to do it. But Adam over at Phoenix was the first one, I think, who did do it. And that's not, again, not sponsored or anything. It's just very clearly a perfect likeness to Chris Evans. And I will be using that as an alternative head for my Captain America figures. So right there, you can see that's going to be the alternative head, the unmasked head for Endgame Cap, because I did actually make that custom hairpiece. Which you all have seen that hairpiece before. What I did was actually shave one of the little dangling. I shaved the little like dangling hairpiece off that comes down on the left side, and I shaved that off, smoothed it over with some gloss paint, and then went over it, gave it a wash, and made the Endgame Chris Evans head with the right hairstyle. So I think it's pretty good looking, man. You can see it on that printed Quantum Realm suit that once again is not mine, but from Life Daddy on Instagram. I forget the name of their actual store, but to the right of that is what some parts I'll be using for Iron Patriot Mark II. And essentially, this is another amazing cast and sculpt by Tuminio. Tuminio was the one who made the Mark 85 wings, which you can already see I painted on the Mark 85, and the Rescue wings, which you can kind of see there, among several other accessories. I'll also be using his Stormbreaker in the showcase, along with another accessory, which you'll see later down the road. But basically, what I've got here is a really great set of pieces. I'll personally be extending the legs and kind of doing a lot to manipulate the gauntlet pieces and the leg pieces, but for the most part, I'll definitely be using that helmet and the chest piece for my own Iron Patriot Mark II. He said that he's working on an even more screen accurate version, I think. So there's a chance that I may not even be using this one, and I'll just wind up hanging on to this. But then also you got the gun there, which is pretty accurate to how it appears in Endgame. So basically, what you're seeing there with that painted War Machine, or I'm sorry, Iron Patriot Mark II, armor set are a set of accessories that I'll definitely be using at least in some part on my actual Iron Patriot Mark II figure that I'll be making once I get through the main Avengers. And also to the right of that, finally in this photo breakdown, I guess I've got the Stonekeeper Red Skull, and that's not a custom or anything. That's just the custom painted face that I did for my first Avenger Red Skull, which I never actually finished or went through with last year. I just painted the face. So I took that, threw a hood on it, threw a Cape Madness shredded cape on there. I think the torso is from like a Lord of the Rings ring wraith. And then the little piece on the bottom, like the ghost piece, you guys have all seen before, I'm sure, at this point, except I painted some metallic black all over the front of it to really make for a good-looking, smooth transition to the torso down to the ground. So it's not like a fully custom Red Skull Wraith Stonekeeper figure, but it's definitely a really good makeshift one with my painted face on there to use for a skit that I have planned for the first Endgame showcase. And that is the full breakdown of what you're looking at in this photo, man.
The Black Widow hair, dude. The Black Widow hair. Did you talk about that?
But
the chat wants to know about the Black Widow hair, dude.
Yeah, so the Black Widow hair is, again, going back to some of these parts, like that Quantum Realm suit, for instance, coming from minifigures that are collector's items, right? I reviewed a few of them, like from Lab 9, who made like a Shazam and a Miss Marvel. And basically, that hairpiece comes from another vendor who makes their own pad printed minifigures with custom accessories like that. But they are collector's items. They usually go from anywhere from $40 to $70 each, very limited quantities, and they sell out typically within the first 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the demand on their site. And I get it on Outside Brick, and it's actually made by Dragon Brick. However, I don't believe Dragon Brick actually has their own website. They just sell through resellers, and that's where that came from. And I had to make sure I was there at 10 a.m. on the dot one day when they were doing a restock, and I managed to get one. And that is the perfect screen-accurate Black Widow Endgame hairpiece. I'm so happy to be using it for my custom Black Widow. But yeah, so that's pretty much that photo. But everybody in the chat, what's up, Tim Sargent? We've got Spaceman Customs here. Michael D, how you doing? Jay, Fortnite Fanatic. But Tait, besides Endgame showcase updates, Lion King came out, man.
It did. Very divisive, just like Aladdin. Are we surprised?
Very divisive.
No. Dude, the freaking lions look good. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but the lions look really good.
See, that's the thing, right?
They just look like lions, though. I mean, I get that some people like that and some people don't. But, just go watch the original if you care.
Everybody is railing on this movie. I mean, critics tore it apart, and everyone on social media has been shredding The Lion King remake by Jon Favreau. I mean, listen, I get it. Is it more exciting to watch a 2D animation with very expressive characters that really sell you on their personalities and the story and the colors and the creativity that comes with that freedom of 2D animation, or even all the way back then? The Lion King is and always will be a masterpiece movie. Now, that being said, what is wrong with a director like Jon Favreau coming off of Jungle Book 2015 to then approach Disney and be like, hey, I have this idea. The technology is there. We can make photo real everything now. We are now in a place to where we can recreate real life animals and a real life environment. And we can do the whole movie like this. What is the problem with that? And he wanted to do a documentary style remake of The Lion King. And that's exactly what he and thousands of other people working on this movie did. I mean, it's revolutionary CGI. And that's what I went for. I didn't go there expecting the wonder and the joy of the first Lion King. I went there to marvel at the CGI. Because unlike so many people all over across the internet, I really appreciate CGI and the possibilities that it's granted us. We can literally see whatever we want in movies now. And that, to me, in The Lion King is a huge culmination of that. Because, again, even though you are missing a lot, even though the cast and maybe the music and the iconic songs aren't quite the same as the original, there's still so much here to enjoy just looking at the visuals and the CGI. And the voice cast does great. Donald Glover does great. Seth Rogen as Pumbaa does great. I mean, they're all great. They're all awesome. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, yeah, he's not Jeremy Irons, but he's great. He was awesome. I mean, it's just stunning to watch. And I know that's become like the cliche thing to say, but it is true. Because at times throughout the movie, you just have to take a step back. You get so lost in it, you're like, you start to take it for granted as you're watching the movie that everything you're seeing is CGI.
Yeah.
And
no, that's pretty damn cool. I mean, that's kind of like I mean, I haven't seen the movie, guys, but that's kind of how it was watching Toy Story 4.
And listen, man, if there are enough people like to go out to these movies, to the live action Disney movies, for them to make enough money like this to keep going, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Because as kids, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Tate.
No, you're good.
Like, as kids, I don't know about you, but it's like, I know I, for one, always dreamed, and Darren, yeah, I know, but like, I always dreamed of having my favorite Disney movies. Like, what would they be like if they were real life movies? And it's happening. It's been happening for the last several years, and Disney is doing it. They don't need to change the already famous storylines. They don't need to change something that's already so special and iconic. What is wrong with making profitable live action updates to the original film? I just don't see the problem. I think this is a much bigger non-issue than people are making it out to be. So anyway, Tate, go ahead.
I feel like people are getting offended for no reason. I mean, shoot, I'm probably not going to enjoy this nor the Aladdin movie. I was memeing on the Aladdin movie. Dude, you have to admit, the Aladdin movie is very memeable. But to get mad over it is just kind of stupid. This movie, to me, it doesn't look great. I mean, I care a lot more about the story and those kind of things than visuals. Yes. And, you know, I mean, I have the old Lion King for that, and I appreciate that. And, dude, honestly, like, I'll take it or leave it. All I know is that the Jungle Book remake, dude, or not even remake, but retelling, and I think there's a reason why I like that movie so much, and there's a reason why I think it's so I think it was so successful in what it was trying to do, because, dude, it wasn't trying to retell the same story. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people are expecting these movies to be like that, where you're getting a new story.
It is weird because it does kind of like create an inconsistency as far as what people's expectations are going to be when they do that.
No, that's kind of my point here, that, you know, people coming off the coattails of Jungle Book, people were expecting reinventions of these classic stories, right? like Aladdin is based upon Arabian Nights or something. No, it's not based off of that. It's based off of like the thief and the something or other. I don't know what it's called. It's based off a couple things.
Yeah.
Why did I say Arabian Nights? I have no idea. That's completely unrelated. Completely unrelated. But anyway, I think people were expecting retellings of those things, right? Jungle Book was based off of a book, right? The Disney classic one. So they went back to the source material for the remake and they changed it up. I think people expected that same thing with what's it called? With Aladdin. Dude, I'm really fumbling right now. Bear with me.
Don't worry about it.
But I really do think that they were expecting similar things to happen with Aladdin specifically. With Lion King and Dumbo, I don't really know what the expectations were. But
Did Dumbo come out?
Dumbo came out, yeah. Kind of came and went, dude.
Dude, what?
Came out in March.
March? Tate, I didn't see that anywhere online.
Nope.
No, there was no discussion around Dumbo at all.
Yep, Danny DeVito ringleader, man.
Dude, did it bomb?
I think it made its money back.
Really? Man, that Dumbo flew so far under the radar and
ironic,
just like
right?
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I was thinking about that like a few days ago. Like, what happened to Dumbo? I never saw it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But anyway, like, yeah, people were expecting reinvention with Aladdin, and for some reason they were expecting the same thing with Lion King. And I think it's kind of weird that they started with a really good Jungle Book redesign and that kind of stuff, and trailed from there. But anyway, I just looked it up. They doubled their budget, dude, with Dumbo. 170 was the budget, and they made 350.
Yeah, that's not bad, man. That's pretty good.
No,
Wow.
No, dude. Not bad at
Could have been
all.
way worse.
Didn't Aladdin like triple its budget?
Dude, Aladdin just cracked $1 billion.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. It's
That's
not
insane, dude.
Yeah. And as far as I mean, there's not much to say. The movie has some really it's fun. That's something that I've got to say too. While even though, yes, I did notice what was missing from the characters. Real life animals simply can't emote as well as cartoons. But I accepted that watching the movie, and I just didn't feel the need for cartoon faces to be placed on these real animals. And I know people really like to immediately jump on statements like that. Oh, they're not real. It's CGI. It's all an anime. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Tate, I can't tell you how many people do that in discussion surrounding The Lion King, where it's like when you try to call it live action or a real life version, everyone just, it's all CGI. It's like, they can't shoot with real animals. They cannot use real lions to star in the movie.
Why not?
It's like,
Why not?
I cannot stand it when people try to quickly shut down the conversation like that. It's so annoying to me. But anyway, yes, it is noticeable when their mouths just move and you don't get a lot from the characters. You don't connect with them in some ways because of that. But it's still incredible to look at the end of the day. And even with that problem, I still felt the spirit of Lion King alive and well. I did. I found myself pretty engaged and connected the whole way through, despite those limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really my overall thoughts on Lion King. I mean, Tate, I know you probably don't need to rush out. It is going to look better on the big screen, I think, but at the same time, who cares?
Yeah,
I don't think I saw Jungle Book on the big screen. No, I know I didn't see Jungle Book on the big screen. I'm pretty sure I missed it. Yeah,
it was pretty incredible in theaters, dude. Honestly, like
yeah.
the Gigantic part. Oh my god.
But I did see it on home release later.
Oh my god. I mean, dude. And you know what? It's a shame. I keep hearing like the musical numbers in Aladdin and in what's it called? Aladdin and Lion King are really missing the beat. Where in Jungle Book they were great. I mean, dude, I Want to Be Like You was the best, dude. It was so fun. Christopher Walken, Scooby-Doo, I want to be like you. Ooh, ooh. It was so fun, dude. Oh my
Do that
god,
again,
that was so
Tate?
great. Oh my god, Christopher Walken.
Uh,
Oh, it was so fun. And then you have Bill Murray singing Bare Necessities. Oh my god, I mean, dude, it was so good.
yeah.
Jeez, it's such a shame that I hear people saying that the musical numbers are missing.
I mean, they're there, man, and they do work. It's not bad.
When I say missing, I don't mean like non-existent. I mean like
Yeah.
they're missing
Right.
their
Sure.
funk.
But they work, man. They still work. And I just think everybody needs to calm down and maybe consider going to see it for yourself, just to enjoy the visuals at the very least, instead of adopting mob mentality. I've been seeing a lot of that surrounding this movie, and
Yeah.
it's a shame because John Favreau and crew really, and all those animators have really pulled off a technical wonder here. I mean, this is, if you ask me, arguably almost on the same level as Avatar when it comes to revolutionary CGI. Um, and it's just flying so far under the radar because people can't have the cartoon faces. And I saw some people even going as far as to say that the cartoon faces should have been applied on anyway. You know, you see those edits floating around on Instagram, and it's like
That's kind of weird.
that would
Yeah.
break the inconsistency of the live action remakes so hardcore. I mean, that would have been. And you know, one last note: it amazes me how Jungle Book. This wasn't even a
Okay,
talking
I was
point.
just gonna say, dude, I think Jungle Book strikes such a good balance with the expressiveness of the characters.
Yeah, but the animals in Jungle Book, in many ways, still a lot of them still had this same problem.
Well, like
But well,
Baloo didn't. Baloo didn't at all. Baloo was very like you could tell that was Bill Murray. I think
yeah,
Baloo, and then oh god, I can't think of what his name is. You know the big monkey, Gigantopithecus, King. I don't remember. I'm blanking. I'm
yeah,
trying to blank.
orangutan.
That looked like Christopher Walken. It really did. And then and like Bagara did not look like Ben Kingsley. You know that's fine. The snake didn't look like Scarlett Johansson, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like the tiger. What's the tiger's name? I can't remember. Dude, I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
But it looked like the actor playing him, and it was insane. Yeah,
The
and
tiger looked
King
like
Louis.
Idris Elba.
It kind of did look like, but like the expressiveness in the nose and the eyes looked like.
I guess.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
His name was Shere Khan. There it is. I didn't know
Shere
Shere Khan
Khan.
was played by Idris Elba, but it looks like a person in the eyes and around the nose, like around the not the nose itself, but
But
you
the
know,
point
area
is, you
under the
still.
eyes. It
The
felt
point
like,
is, you still had a lot of the same problems, though.
I disagree.
No, because it was there, but I feel like what distracted people and the reason they didn't berate Jungle Book like Lion King is because you had the kid,
right.
because you had
That's
Mowgli,
that's
because you
really true.
did have a human who was emoting, and you know, and who audiences could correspond to and connect with the whole way through. And so therefore they weren't thinking about the CGI animals as much because they were focused on Mowgli. And so the conversation was never had.
But
But the
also,
second
dude,
they
I think that the limitations of the time, you know, the advancement now of making photorealistic animals even more realistic, I
yeah,
think that's a little bit of a downside. Because the animals in Lion King, from what I've seen, look way better than the animals in Jungle Book did.
I haven't seen Jungle Book in a long time, so I can't even confirm. But
Dude, I watched it I think like 6 months ago. It was the last time I watched it.
yeah, but anyway, moving on from Lion King, definitely consider going to check it out yourself before it leaves theaters. Um, we've got Spider-Man,
home cracking $1 billion.
the first Spider-Man film to ever crack $1 billion. Now everybody immediately jumped on this and was like, "Oh, so Spidey gets to stay in the MCU." And Tate, it just baffles me how many people subscribed to that rumor that Sony would require $1 billion gross at the box office
They're
to
already
keep
making the third
Spider-Man
movie,
in the
guys.
MCU.
They're already
Like,
making all the Spider-Man crap that they're gonna be making. I mean, they're in pre-production already.
I remember when that started to gain a little traction. I was like, people can't actually think this. Like, people fully bought into that. It was like, what?
I remember
That's
the
not
day I
real.
saw it. I remember the day I saw it. Ross and I were playing like Far Cry or something on PlayStation, and I was like, Ross, the entire internet is stupid. It was the first thing I said to him. I mean, come on, guys. That's not how movies work.
Yeah.
They have a contract. They're contractually obligated for certain things. I do somewhat subscribe to the whole, Sony making characters different so that if they remake Spider-Man, it won't be confusing for people.
Right.
But
I can see the legalities there, and that's why we're getting Michelle Jones and Zendaya the way she is instead of Mary Jane Watson and so on. I get that. But yeah, listen, man, but going back to the achievement of it, that's awesome. Because if I recall correctly, Spider-Man Homecoming didn't do as great.
I don't
The
get
numbers.
that's my favorite Spider-Man movie. Besides
Yeah, the
Spider-Man.
numbers on Spider-Man Homecoming were good, but they were like, Amazing Spider-Man 2 good. They were just kind of there. It was, it was acceptable, right? But Far From Home cracking 1 billion, man, Tate, I wish Spider-Verse could have had $1 billion gross.
I wish that movie would have had the highest gross we've seen in cinema, dude. That is the best animated. That honestly, dude, in terms of technical prowess, that could be one of the best animation movies ever made.
Okay, and we won't go into spoilers, Stroke. I appreciate you dropping that in chat because we definitely. But yeah, so no spoilers for Far From Home.
Yeah.
We already talked about Far From Home, so if you guys want to leave our spoiler thoughts on Far From Home anyway, that's all in that podcast on the channel. So
in closing, dude, it's like pretty good. It's like like 7.
Far From Home, yeah, no, it's not my favorite Spider-Man film. I mean, we talked about this at length. I mean, I have plenty of problems with it, but I also loved a lot of things in it, despite those problems. That I enjoyed a good 30-40% of it. It's really still a fun film.
Dude, did Captain Marvel really make $1 billion? Holy crap!
It did, man. Marvel, Tate. Every Marvel movie that's come out this year has made $1 billion.
Jeez.
And Endgame became the highest-grossing movie of all time. Over the hiatus while we were away, man. Holy crap!
Which we will be talking about.
Avengers Endgame is the highest-grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, but dude, that's also like 10 years, 11 years worth of effort put in that movie. I mean, come on.
And then, even Feige was humble enough to come out on the Comic-Con panel and say, adjusted for inflation, it's still below Avatar, but on paper, Avengers Endgame is the highest-grossing film of all time. And that, listen, man, even if they had to do a quick little re-release with some crappy footage and a nice Stan Lee tribute and some free posters to get them past that mark, so be it. It was worth it. They deserve it.
Didn't Avatar re-release as well, though?
Yeah, I think, and Avatar stuck around in theaters for a long time. Yeah. I remember it was like a 6-month run or something ridiculous. It was just gross. It didn't stop, man.
It's very telling of the state of the universe, though. Not the state of the universe, the state of Earth. That Disney owns the top 3 highest-grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
it's nuts, man.
I mean, dude, like, okay, forget about governments. Like, Disney owns the world. That's just so crazy to me, dude. I mean, by the time Ross and I lay our heads to rest, dude, I mean, Disney's gonna own everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna walk into New York City, and it's gonna be called New Disney City or something.
New Disney City.
Disney City 1, and then LA is gonna be Disney City 2.
Disney Angeles, yeah.
Yeah. Los Disney.
Oh no.
Oh,
but
God. Anyway,
Tate, a big thing happened last Saturday. A week ago, the Marvel Phase 4 panel happened at San Diego Comic-Con and was pretty much the only thing of like value to happen at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
There was
nothing.
Like nothing else happened besides this, which is okay.
Nintendo stuff, which was cool, but
yeah,
it didn't matter.
This panel was incredible.
So I do want to add, guys, before we start talking about it, this is just the projection, right? None of these are 100% set in stone happening. Well, like the Black Widow and that, like there are things that are happening. They're all happening.
No. I mean, Kevin Feige even came out and said that this slate is much more locked in than the Phase 3 slate was.
Right, but also I want to include, guys. I want to include that we might see some other stuff as well. So if none of these movies are interesting you guys, there could be Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2.
Right.
It just we'll see. We'll have to see.
What was I gonna? Oh yeah. So
Exactly, Spaceman, the Inhumans movie. That's the kind of what I was poking at.
Before we even get into what they all came out, what what Feige and crew came out to announce, um, it was such a great panel, man. He opened it up by bringing out some of the people that you don't really see as much behind the scenes. This is the Marvel, the main key figures in the Marvel staff who you sometimes see in the featurettes, but that was really cool how he opened it up by thanking them and announcing the end game, achievement, the box office achievement. But Phase 4 is only going to be 2 years long. Phase 3 ran from Captain America Civil War in April of 2016 all the way up to technically Spider-Man Far From Home this month. And so Phase 3 went for a little over 3 years. And this announcement, by the end of it, Feige and Marvel said this is Phase 4. These movies and these Disney Plus shows are it. And then Phase 4 wraps up with, I forget which movie is at the tail end. I think it might be Thor. And then that's it. Then we move straight into Phase 5 in 2 years. Of course, you'll have the next Spider-Man movie thrown into Phase 4, but that's going to have to be Sony's announcement. Sony controls distribution for the Spider-Man movies. That's why it wasn't at this panel. And also, I mean, we did just literally have, the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man sequel, Far From Home. So, yeah, but I think we should go in chronological order, Tate. Starting off with
really
Black Widow.
Dude, really quick before we do, I just want to say, oh my gosh, look at how much Marvel content we have, dude. TV shows, movies, we have a video game coming out. I mean, just think of the state of the world, dude.
And everybody thought that it was going to start to finally slow down after Endgame, right? And I knew that it wouldn't. I still firmly believe that they can get a good 10 or 15 years out of the MCU before we even need to concern ourselves with a decline.
Yeah.
Because
I do want to say though, there are certain fans, myself included. I mean, I'm hardly a Marvel fan. I like a lot of the movies, but I don't subscribe to everything they put out. Dude, my favorite movies are like Winter Soldier and Avengers 1, even though they have some really weird Joss Whedon scenes where it looks like a TV show. But I really like that old stuff, and in Phase 3, a lot of that did not interest me. So I feel like there's definitely more splendor. I mean, we have the Eternals, which are just the Guardians of the Galaxy on crack, if you read comic books. I mean, that's what they are. But we have these extremely oddball, super space age movies now. I mean, it went from, the sci-fi in Marvel was more around, Earth-based science, and now it's intergalactic. And I mean, that's great. It's a natural evolution. That's a 100% a natural evolution. But, dude, my favorite movies, like Homecoming, dude, when they just stay on Earth, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is for the majority, but there are some people like me that are just like, cool, it's happening. Like, I'll see these movies because of the podcast, but if we didn't have the podcast, dude, I'd probably see none of them except for maybe Doctor Strange 2.
None of them, really?
Yeah, honestly, I watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, but otherwise, dude, I might see Doctor Strange because I really like the visuals in the first one. Otherwise, I'm not. This isn't for me. And that's not to say it's not for the majority, because it definitely is, and I think these will be great. But just not for me.
For me, what surprised me the most about the Phase 4 announcement is I really thought that Phase 4, as far as movies goes, I thought it was going to be Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, Captain Marvel 2, Spider-Man 3, the safe choices, right? And then maybe one new wild card thrown in there. But that is, I thought that wild card maybe, that was going to be the Eternals. But otherwise, everything else was going to be safe. So they can make sure the MCU is profitable, and they would dip into the really weird stuff in Phase 5. But no, dude, in Phase 4, they're doing Eternals. They're doing Shang-Chi. Listen, man, I didn't expect Shang-Chi until Phase 5. And so that was surprising. I mean, it was heavily rumored. But when they actually came out with it, I was like, oh, wow, we're doing him already. Okay.
Yeah, I want to include, guys, that a lot of people are making arguments with, like, the Eternals, that, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they were kind of shrouded in just as much, just as much, lack of clout, lack of notoriety. Dude, no.
Mhm.
The Guardians of the Galaxies are decently big heroes. They're a decently big hero team.
They weren't though before
Well,
the
well
2012
no,
announcement.
hear
Yeah.
me out. No, but like their comics sold, right? That my point is their comics sold. They were in the Spider-Man TV show, because you had Nova, and Nova was getting really big because of that TV show. So the Guardians of the Galaxy had some clout going into their movie release. The Eternals, dude, that's such an odd choice in my opinion. Like I'm really I'm really liking the fact that they're doing that. And it's kind of like, to me, it'd be like if they made a Blue Lantern Corps movie in DC. Like, it's so odd, and they're gonna do a good job of it, and they're gonna make these characters popular. But dude, the Eternals just exist out in the middle of buttfuck space. That's my one per stream. But buttfuck nowhere space.
Second.
Ross, that was yours.
No.
But anyway, dude, like, I'm really curious to see what happens with it. These dudes are gods. These are like Thanos level characters. So that'll be really weird. And then Shang-Chi, I know a tiny bit about it just because I'm a comic books reader, but
I read a little bit into Shang-Chi after the announcement, and sounds like a cool story, man. I'm down.
definitely.
I'm down. It sounds a little bit better than Iron Fist. So.
Oh yeah. It exists in that. Like, I only know about him because of Iron Fist. Can I just say really quick? It's such a shame that we got Inhumans and Defenders on TV, because do you know how great those two movies would be?
It's hard for me to agree with the Netflix side because Daredevil is really incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise
I would have loved to see a Defenders movie, dude, or like a Daredevil movie, and then you can have a Team Red movie, or it's Spider-Man, Daredevil, Deadpool. Sign me up on there.
Yeah, man, I think we're definitely going to get a Daredevil series. Those characters are going to come back without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
It's just they have to wait, those 2 years following each cancellation. And I said this on the, because this question of where's the Defenders and how are they going to eventually get to Disney Plus shows, that conversation came up last Saturday during these announcements. And, I said this on Twitter, it's like, if they don't cast Charlie Cox and really the whole Daredevil cast, if they don't bring them back and just kind of keep going with a change in style, like what they need to do going forward with the Marvel, with the Defenders characters, they already have pretty stellar casts. Yes, Finn Jones isn't the greatest. He's had a lot of problems playing Iron Fist because of the material he's been given. But they're still the perfect actors to be playing the Defenders. And so they need to do what Taika Waititi did with Thor Ragnarok and just reinvent all of those characters while keeping the cast. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
it. Do we agree? I think I speak for the two of us when I say, do we agree with the reinvention in Ragnarok? No, but that's not what the argument is here.
Like a tonal reinvention, a visual reinvention. They just need to change everything up and keep the cast and make it fit the Disney Plus mold. But
Ross, Thor doesn't need the hammer. He's not the god of hammers. but at the same time, he kind of.
But at the same time, we're going to devote his entire story in Infinity War to getting a new hammer.
He kind of is. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? We're the Russo Bros. And
I wonder how that happened. Like, if they were coordinating with Taika Waititi and he was making Ragnarok, and they were just finally like, Stephen McFeely and Christopher Marcus were like, yeah, but no. We're going to make sure Thor still has a hammer.
He's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like, nah.
Yeah. But Tait, Black Widow is going to be the first MCU movie to come in 2020. It is the next MCU movie on the way. They're still filming it right now, but honestly, they came out with the cast.
Can I just say, dude, I'm like surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised with the way the Disney remakes are going. Like how we've already had 3 this year. Like we've had 3 of those. Isn't there another one coming out of the Disney live action remakes, or is that it for this year?
I have no idea.
Because I was about to say, if there's 4, dude, I'm surprised they're not doing 4 Marvel movies a year. Like, it's kind of surprising to me that it's not for each season.
I think I still kind of feel
that'd
like
be a
3.
lot. I think that would be a lot, dude. But
I mean, what they're doing right now, 2 movies and then a lot of TV shows, I think
that's
is great.
insane.
You
No,
know,
that's nuts.
like 2
That's
movies and a
nuts.
TV show, I think that's fine.
I'm
You
just
don't
saying, dude.
need
Like
to have the 3 movies every year.
I agree with you, and I don't think you need to have 4 movies. I'm just surprised they're
Yeah.
not doing it, dude. I mean, look at how much money. They're
But
putting into
as
live
far as the
action
Black
animation.
Widow movie goes, it's apparently I think it is taking place between Civil War and Infinity War.
That's weird to me, but whatever.
And Black Widow kind of breaks off from Team Cap, goes off to Budapest, runs into David Harbour's character Alexei, who's apparently Red Guardian, whoever that is, I have no idea.
Super oddball character. Super
Yeah.
oddball character, dude.
Yeah,
I've
I've been
like
told.
I've seen him one time and like he beat up a bunch of goons. Like that's the only time I've ever seen him. Like I just saw him, he was Batman, and then he left.
And then another actress, she was cast as Yelena. I'm not familiar with her character either, but apparently she and Natasha go way back.
It's another
So that
Russian
should be
character,
pretty
another
interesting.
Russian spy character.
Right. And then you also, of course, have the big draw to the movie for me.
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster is the villain of Black Widow. Some concept art was released. It honestly looks really good,
Yeah, it
despite
looks
like
very
his weird
MCU.
sunglasses that he's got on, and the footage description for what they showed while Scarlett Johansson and everybody was out on stage. It sounds good, man. Her going against Yelena, and then the Taskmaster fight where he is indeed copying her moves. I mean, that footage hasn't leaked from what I understand, but it sounded great, man. It
Yeah,
really did.
how's like a 6 foot tall man can do the thing where she like wraps her legs around some guy's neck and throws him? You know what I mean? Like how is he gonna copy that on her? I'm just teasing.
I don't know,
I'm just teasing. But
but
yeah.
I will say there's something weird to me, and I think I might have told you. I think we probably mentioned this off stream, Tate. But like, it's weird to me that because this movie is a prequel, yes, by its very nature, feels like a thing of the past.
Oh yeah, right. Like,
But-
why are we not hearing anything about Taskmaster or
Yeah,
any of
but
these
it just-
threats in Endgame, in Infinity
Right,
War?
because let's say this takes place in 2016, right after Civil War, or 2017, again, just after Civil War, or even 2018, right before Infinity War, it's still been at least
5 years.
5.5 years at minimum since she faced off against Taskmaster. And, in Infinity War, she never brings it up, or even,
But we never see her in Infinity War, so that's fine.
Black Widow. Well, I mean, we do a little bit, but not
yeah,
enough
but,
to
like,
where she.
not enough to warrant a conversation about what she's been up to.
Right. And so, I mean, that you can pass all that stuff off, but it's just weird watching Endgame to think like how far in the past this movie's already going to be. It's just weird to me, but that comes with it, man. I hope we still get to see Taskmaster in the future at some point in 2023 MCU. But
Yeah, I really think Taskmaster should have been in the Avengers movie. I think that's because I mean that's why Taskmaster is such a compelling villain, because he can copy the moves of all the Avengers simultaneously. So I really want to see a team up movie, or Red Guardian and Black Widow fighting him simultaneously, and he copies both of their moves and uses them against each other. I mean, that would be so fun to see.
yeah, no, I mean, Taskmaster is a huge B-list villain. I mean,
Top of the
He's a
list.
big-
Top of the B list.
yeah, man, and
He's like A- is what I consider him.
and I'm looking forward. He was fun in Spider-Man PS4 too, that iteration, and they're doing him again in the new Avengers game. So I mean, Taskmaster's finally getting some love, man, and I'm excited for it. I mean, there's still part of me that wishes we could have had a Black Widow Bucky team up movie, because they're both so similar in in the lifestyles they led before becoming involved with the Avengers again. But I'm still very excited, man, because a big thing that I also forgot to mention is just something I've always felt is that Black Widow has always been the most underdeveloped Avenger of the main 6. All the mentions of her past have been nice, but it hasn't been much. You just kind of had to connect with her from the get-go in Iron Man 2 and the Avengers, and then that's how it worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be really nice, and I feel like there's going to be a sense of completion for Black Widow finally after this movie. I feel like that should be the mission of this movie, to finally bring Natasha Romanoff's story full circle and wrap it up and complete it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she's still dead. Some of us were hoping this was going to take place post Endgame and that she was going to, and that Cap did in fact bring her back, but no, it's pretty cool. She's dead. Natasha's not coming back. But after May 1st, 2020, with Black Widow, we're going to have our first Disney Plus show. Now, Disney Plus is kicking off toward the end of this year. I think in November, if I'm not mistaken. But The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming out fall 2020, and of course they brought out Sebastian Stan and of course the man himself, Anthony Mackie, our new Captain America, for the panel, and they showed a very brief clip of Daniel Bruhl putting on the mask as Baron Zemo, which is very exciting because they did actually post a couple. Daniel Bruhl himself did post a couple stills of that on his Instagram, so we got to see that. We don't have it for the stream, but you can pull it up on his Instagram pretty easily, and so that's really awesome. Because Tait, well, like I understand why it might have been a little too much to have him put the mask on in Civil War. I still would have liked for him to have the mask on in Civil War.
At least at the end, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he's standing there, and he's like, "You really don't know, like what you've been doing," and he shows him the clip and everything, and he has the mask on, and maybe he takes it off and reveals himself. Something.
Which is hard because it wouldn't mean anything to Steve.
No.
A mask reveal.
No, it wouldn't. But like they could have written it in, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. But this honestly behind Doctor Strange 2, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is what I'm the most excited for, hands down.
Yeah. So
this is the perfect extension of Winter Soldier and Civil War, just without Steve. Because even Emily Van Camp is coming back to play Agent 13. Sharon Carter. So that's really cool too.
So I want to point out that I was kind of worried about Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I was thinking maybe they're not going to get movies now because of this. But I want to say, Wanda Maximoff, what's her name, Scarlet Witch, having such a big. I like how I remember the character name and not the superhero name. But anyway, the Scarlet Witch is going to play a big role in Doctor Strange, which means she's still going to be very much tied to the movies. So that gives me a lot of hope that Captain America Falcon, will appear and play a role in the upcoming movies. Because, dude, honestly, I'd love to see Anthony Mackie lead the Avengers. I'd absolutely love to see that, dude. I mean, how fun would that be? Him and Spider-Man, their relationship has been built up, too, because of the fight at the airport and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the two who really need to be leading the Avengers, I feel like, at least... honestly, I really feel like it should be Wanda, Sam, and Doctor Strange. those are the three I think really need to be leading the Avengers.
Oh,
for
really?
Sure.
I would argue that it's Sam, Peter, and then
I don't feel like Peter's ready for that.
I don't think he's ready for that. No, but he needs to have a big not a leadership position, but he needs to always be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, he's definitely of course, always right there behind them, supporting the Avengers. But I think he still needs probably another maybe 2 movies before he can lead the Avengers. That being said, the Eternals will soon follow that in November of 2020, November 6th, and they brought out the full cast, led up by Angelina Jolie, who's playing Thena, and I forget the rest of the actors because I'm not personally too familiar with their work, even though I know of the comedian. I forget his name, but I've seen him all over the internet. I've just never seen anything he's in. But the Eternals cast does look really good. You got the guy who plays Jefferson Davis in Into the Spider-Verse, who's among the cast too, so he's entering the MCU. That's Miles' father, by the way, in Spider-Verse, who he voiced. And so, like we were saying, the Eternals are just such a big deal. They're arguably as cosmic as it gets when it comes to almost omnipotent beings that you can encounter in the Marvel Universe. So this is going to be pretty crazy to introduce. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I wonder how they're going to key in with the rest of the MCU at some point. What are our new Avengers reactions going to be to the Eternals when that day comes? That should be pretty cool. The Eternals, I gotta admit, I don't know really much of anything about them.
They're gods. They're big
Yeah,
gods that live in space and defend the fabric of reality.
But it sounds like what they're going with for this story is that they've been hidden among humanity on Earth for the last 35,000 years, Tate. Apparently that's a thing they're incorporating into the story.
Right.
Don't quote me on that, but I saw that somewhere while all this news was dropping.
Evan wants us to rank our hype, dude. What's your hype level for Phase 4?
For Phase 4?
Yeah.
What, out of 10 maybe?
Out of 10.
Out of 10? I mean, well, probably a good 7.5.
Dude, I'm at a
whereas Phase 3, I was like a 9 out of 10.
Dude,
I'll never forget that Phase 3 announcement in October 2014 when they're announcing Civil War, bringing out Chadwick Boseman, confirmation as Black Panther, announcing Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel, and oh my God, Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2. That event was unforgettable. And I don't think this was necessarily as good because now we are moving forward without three of the critical Avengers, three of the core Avengers, but I'm still so excited for a lot of this. Even though, listen, man, I know like I sound very quiet in this podcast and very like chill, but all my hype was definitely on the day on Saturday of last week. But I'm still looking forward to all of this, man. Even if I don't sound like it.
Yeah, dude, I'm like a 2 out of 10. Like I'm cool. Like.
It is very different. Like I said, it is very different from what I expected Phase 4 to look like. Because I really did expect Captain Marvel 2, Doctor Strange 2, which we do have Doctor Strange 2, but also Black Panther 2 and Spider-Man 3 to be really leading the charge as far as Phase 4 announcements would go. And that's really not the case and didn't wind up being the case. But that's okay. Because all of that's still coming, even if it winds up being the tail end of Phase 4 or even the beginning of Phase 5. But Feige also said, really, aside from Spider-Man 3, this is Phase 4 right here. So everything else is going to be Phase 5 in a couple of years, which is pretty crazy to think about.
That's going to include Fantastic Four and X-Men most likely, so look forward to
and then right after Eternals, you've got Shang-Chi in February of 2021. And again, I just can't believe how fast we're getting Shang-Chi. I really thought he was going to be Phase 5, but he's not. I mean, he's pretty early on. I mean, he's only the 4th project in on Phase 4 here. And what's really great about this is just how comic booky the title is. I mean, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Dude,
now listen,
he's just gonna beat up terrorists. I mean,
we're
literally gonna watch a movie about a guy beating up terrorists. Like, what's
martial
not to
artist,
like?
just beating up terrorists.
What's not to like, dude?
I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. I'm very curious. But part of me still wishes Tony Stark got to meet the real Mandarin.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always going to be a bit of a hole left behind with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man.
Yeah, no,
that
that's
a
big comic beat. That's a big comic
yeah.
beat.
I still wholeheartedly disagree with what they did to Ben Kingsley in Iron Man 3.
Ben Kingsley
that was
like a real Mandarin too. I mean, that would have been.
That was like the beginning of Hollywood subverting expectations in a bad way. That would eventually lead us to The Last Jedi. But
his Rostico?
Either way, man, I'm excited for Shang-Chi. They cast Simu Liu as I hope I didn't butcher that name. But he's really cool. Canadian actor, and he's gonna be playing Shang-Chi. And it's awesome because the guy just sounds like such a fan. I mean, he screen tested the Sunday, like a little under a week before Comic-Con, and then got the call while he was like, I think, sitting like laying on his bed or something, eating chips or something. I forget what he said. It was really funny. After Comic-Con, got the confirmation that he was Shang-Chi from Feige. Got the call from Burbank, California, that he was Shang-Chi on Tuesday. And then Saturday, he had to be at Comic-Con 4 days later to head up his segment of the panel. And they got the director lined up already, and they cast the Mandarin. And I personally am not familiar with the actor, but from what I hear, he's going to do a great job. And these guys are both martial artists, so I mean, it's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it.
Down and dirty. That's kind of cool if he does.
I'm looking forward to what his dynamic will eventually be with the new Avengers.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I'm looking forward to that, especially. But getting to see the 10 rings again, this would be a really good opportunity to bring in that guy from
Iron Man 1.
The lead Iron Man 1 10 rings antagonist. I forget his.
Yeah, no, they.
I didn't. Yeah. I would love for him to be in this.
Oh yeah, that'd be incredible, dude.
But yeah, man. And then right after that, in spring of 2021, you're gonna have WandaVision. Now this show is really confusing. First of all, everybody dislikes the name. I personally don't care. It's fine. The logo is a little underwhelming. But you've had a lot of people saying, oh, it's going to take place in like the 50s because of an offhanded remark Elizabeth Olsen made in the Avengers Endgame. I think it was at the premiere. It was at one of the Endgame premieres. And
the logo looks neon strip inspired, but that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, man. And Tate, I don't know about you, but I just hope they actually bring the Vision back. Because I don't know how a 1950s style dreamscape miniseries about Wanda having a Vision family is gonna go. If that's what they're going for, there's been some discussion that it might be something like that. There's gonna be an actual Vision family like from the comic. I don't know how I feel about that. I really would rather they just bring the Vision back, but then the problem is, of course, that ruins that big epic scene from Infinity War. But it's just Paul Bettany as the Vision is so great. And while I do feel satisfied in how much screen time we got with him already, I would really like for him to just come back.
Dude, he's a robot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and it would be easy to bring him back, too. I mean, you could absolutely just say, yep, 5 years ago, Shuri made a backup of his consciousness. It's been sitting in Wakanda for the last 5 years. No one knew about it.
They've been, repairing his consciousness, repiecing it or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can... Among everybody that's died so far in the MCU, Vision is the easiest to bring back.
No, everybody's the easiest to take back because of time travel, Ross.
That's also true. Oh, no.
Oh, God. That's why, you know what? Endgame created a lot of problems.
Quantum Realm suit and go get him. It's fine.
Or de-age them. Like just take their dead body and de-age it, you know? Like
and if anything, pulling him out... Dude, and if anything, pulling him out of an alternate timeline helps that timeline because then Thanos can't get all the stones and nobody has to die.
Oh, my God. Oh my God. Yeah, you just remove that Infinity Stone from reality. Why don't they just do that and like help everybody out? Like, oh, let me just remove all of the Infinity
Stones. I mean, like they not only figured out time travel and like figured out how anybody sees loved ones by just throwing on a time travel suit and throwing some pin particles into the suit. You can go visit anybody anywhere, anytime. But they also solved aging because of the Hulk's, failed experiments pushing time through Lang. I mean, if you're not terminally ill or have some kind of, disease, or you are definitely dying, you can literally just de-age yourself in the MCU now. But they'll never address any of this again. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh man,
and it creates a lot of issues, man. That's why I was saying I'm not looking forward to time travel.
I was hoping time travel was going to be handled. Actually, was an Endgame, but that's okay. The MCU moves forward, even if they don't address those pretty. It's a pretty big deal that those two things were solved. They pretty much figured out immortality to some extent, and
dude, our entire Endgame review essentially was picking apart plot holes in Endgame. I just want to say
we love the film so much, despite its problems. Love Endgame.
Yeah. I don't love it as much as Ross does, but dude, that final battle was fucking awesome. There's my third. Damn it. But I think that's it, dude. If we get demonetized because of that, fine.
I don't even think we have monetization on the show.
Don't.
But
we don't. Let's make T-shirts, dude. Let's just put
dude.
Let's make T-shirts. It's just I don't know. What do you guys want to see on a T-shirt? Comment in chat right now.
But Tate,
episode 20, we'll have T-shirts out.
WandaVision sounds great. Apparently, it's going to be linking directly into Doctor Strange 2, which we'll talk about in a second. But before we get Doctor Strange 2, Loki also comes out in spring of 2021. The Loki series with its really crappy logo that I guess is supposed to imply him jumping around to different time periods.
That'd be fun.
Now, I don't know why Marvel, even Feige a little bit, and some of the people who run the press for Disney when talking about the Loki series try to say, they almost try to add some ambiguity to this unnecessarily. Like, this is a different Loki than we knew in Infinity War. It's 2012 Loki. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's 2012 Loki from an alternate reality that we saw. That's it. It's like it's annoying for me when everybody tries to dance around just saying what the Loki series is. It's very straightforward. It's taking place in that alternate 2012 reality where Loki grabbed the Tesseract and got away. And so it's a whole series about 2012 Loki in an alternate reality, apparently bouncing around in that alternate reality through time, manipulating events all throughout human history to make himself a god to humanity that way. How he does it with this space stone, I have no idea. If any of that's even true, I also have no idea. What I do know is bringing back Tom Hiddleston to be 2012 Loki for a miniseries sounds awesome, and I'm looking forward to it because arguably that was the best Loki.
Yeah. Cool.
And that concludes my thoughts on it.
Doctor Strange 2, dude, apparently it's a comedy horror. That's two genres that should not mix because then you get shitty movies.
Yeah, so Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming out May 7th, 2021, a little bit after that. I actually love the title.
I love the title too. It's very comic book. Yeah. It's very fun.
And of course, Kevin Feige, before bringing the Batch of Cumber out on stage, said even though Quinn and Beck lied about the multiverse, of course, multiverse still exists. But again, we had this conversation even before Far From Home out. They have yet to nail down exactly what they mean by the multiverse. Are we talking alternate realities created by time travel, by accident, like what we saw in Endgame, and that's the multiverse? Are we talking about weird psychedelic dimensions like we saw in Doctor Strange?
And that kind of stuff, yeah.
Are we talking, what are we defining as the MCU's multiverse is my question.
I think it's going to be a little bit of everything. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to, cuck themselves and
categorize it, yeah. But I'm curious. I am curious, man. And I'm looking forward to it, though, especially because they came out with the offhanded remark and announcement that Elizabeth Olsen is joining Benedict Cumberbatch as Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange 2.
Pretty damn good, dude. That's pretty. Scarlet Witch is probably awesome. Scarlet Witch is my favorite. It's like one of my favorite Avengers, dude.
She has been amazing since day one.
She's been great. I mean, the accent was weird in Age of Ultron, but they remedied that real.
And now that ScarJo is no longer in the MCU, I think
we need a strong
Elizabeth Olsen is hands down the best female Avenger, hands down 100%. In the MCU. I mean, I have loved Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Wanda Maximoff since Age of Ultron, man, and she's done a great job. And it's just so awesome to see that not only is she getting her own miniseries, but they're expanding her role into Phase 4 and putting her in such a grand scale movie with Doctor Strange. I mean, this is amazing. I got so excited when I heard about this announcement. I had to put together an edit of what Doctor Strange 2 could look like. I sent it to you, Tate. I don't know if you have it or not, but I'm just so looking forward to this because to me, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the movie that should have come in between Avengers Endgame and whatever else would come after in Phase 4, even if that is Spider-Man 2. Of course, that doesn't work scheduling-wise, and I'm sure plot-wise as far as Phase 4 of the MCU goes and how they want things to play out and happen at certain times. And you can't have Benedict Cumberbatch shoot 3 MCU, big, large-scale MCU movies like that in a row. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But how great would it have been if it could have worked? If we could have had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness this month, and so we could have addressed these large, high-stakes changes to the MCU now, instead of Spider-Man Far From Home having to open up with a bunch of jokes about it. And of course, that wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked, Ross. But here's the thing, dude. Like, okay, if Spider-Man Far From Home, if the multiverse that Quentin Beck was talking about was a real thing, there would be issues.
Oh my God,
Issues.
yeah, we were so
Huge
glad the
issues.
multiverse was just a lie on
Right.
his part. That
Yeah.
the time travel thing was already way too big of a can of worms to open for the MCU, and then
Right.
throwing
Yeah.
the multiverse in immediately after would have been bad.
So what's kind of nice is that we do have a little bit of break before multiverse. That's kind of, it's nice that we do have a little bit of a break of these massive, cosmic, interdimensional, reality-breaking things.
Yeah. And Nightmare is confirmed to be the villain. I have no idea who that is.
Dude, he's like Darkrai from Pokemon. Like literally, that's all he is.
I'll be honest, Tate. I'm really hoping Carl Mordo is still one of the main antagonists of this movie.
Yeah.
And if he's not, he better be the antagonist of Doctor Strange 3, man, because I'm really excited for him to be the antagonist. Those setup scenes at the end of Doctor Strange were fantastic.
Yeah, Baron Mordo needs to be.
Yeah.
He needs to be.
Chiwetel Ejiofor is incredible. One of the best actors working today, and it's like, I really wanted him to be the main villain of this movie, and it doesn't look. He may not even be in it, and it's like,
Yeah.
And I guess that's okay again, as long as he shows up in Doctor Strange 3 many years from now, at the very least.
And then it kind of closes off. We have What If and Hawkeye, as well as Thor, dude. What If, cool. Bummer, it's a cartoon, but cool.
Yeah, man. The What If cast though is pretty phenomenal. I mean, you've got Jeffrey Wright leading it up as the Watcher, and I mean that guy is the perfect person to cast as not just the voice of the Watcher, but as a live action Watcher too. I mean, he's amazing in Westworld, and hell, even the Hunger Games. I mean, he's a great actor. I'm so excited for him as the Watcher. I didn't even think of him like when I thought of who could play the Watcher or a Watcher, but yeah, it's him. He's the guy. I'm excited for that. But with the announcement of What If coming in summer 2021, the bummed that they're animated shows.
Yeah, so
because
I want to say something really quick. So we see Spider-Verse, a very stylized animation. I mean, Spider-Verse is pages of the comic book on screen, and that's why I love it so much. But it is so stylized. And, there are a lot of things that are extremely stylized. A lot of unique things you can do with animation as opposed to just cartoons. We've seen cartoons forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It'd be really, really interesting if What If changed their style of animation with each episode. With
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Like, think about it, dude. Episode 1, let's say we have, or not episode 1, but let's say we have Marvel Zombies and it's traditional animation, or it's like Walking Dead comic book style animation. Think about which one would be a little bit cooler, a little bit more popping. It's all black and white except for the blood, except for the gouges. It'd be so
oh my God,
interesting.
Dude, that is the one thing about these being animated. The potential is unlimited. They can do whatever they want.
Exactly, and I really hope they don't just stick to an animation style, like a normal 2D animation style.
I will say the animation style that we can kind of see within the logo, which you had to really be paying attention to notice, where you can see like Captain America as a Marvel Zombie and all that stuff, and even like I think you can see Black Panther in there, and I think Doctor Strange too. I like the animation style, even if they keep it looking like that all the way up to 2021. I think that's awesome. I'm sure they're developing it now.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the variations between episodes would be great. You have a Spider-Man episode that takes some cues from Spider-Verse, and then you have a zombie episode that takes cues from Walking Dead comic books, and then you have, whatever that's more, child animation, like cel-shaded, kid show animation, and then you have something that's extremely intricate, like literal comic book characters with all of the, veins and muscles and, all that kind of stuff, like extremely, like high quality art animation. Like they can do so much.
Yeah.
And I really hope they don't just stick to one animation style.
We'll see, man. But I mean, the cast and all the actors from the MCU they've got signed on, it's pretty stellar. I mean, they got Michael B. Jordan, Sebastian Stan, Josh Brolin. That's awesome. I did not think we were going to get any more of Thanos ever. I thought he was done.
No, what if they come out and it's like, oh yeah, it's a Cable thing? How do you feel about that?
No.
He gets cast and it's like, oh yeah, it's Cable, not
No.
Thanos.
No, they won't do that.
What
Mark
if they
Ruffalo.
did though? What if? This is Marvel. What if?
They could.
MGF Live. What if?
They got Sam Jackson, Chris Hemsworth, Haley Atwell. Now this, and why I'm a little bummed that Marvel What If is live action. It's not live action because I really like the idea of a What If series of Peggy Carter becoming Captain America instead of Steve, and that being another period piece series like Agent Carter. That sounds awesome. But it's going to be animated. I'll take it, man. But I wanted that to be live action so bad. And so I'm a little bummed there, but that's okay.
Yeah, Ross hates anime confirmed.
And then, yeah, dude, they even got Chadwick Boseman for this, Karen Gill, and they got Jeremy Renner, Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, all actors who've a lot of these people who've never done voice work, let alone, taking part in an animated series. They've got the guy who played Dum Dum Dugan and Dave Dark from the CW shows, Neil something. I forget his last name. They got Dominic Cooper and Sean Gunn and Natalie Portman even. Holy crap. When does Natalie Portman take part in little projects like this? It's pretty cool, man. They've got even Stanley Tucci, who I think is, I hope I said that last name right, who of course was Dr. Erskine, which is really awesome from, he played Dr. Erskine in First Avenger. He was amazing. I mean, they got Taika Waititi for this, Toby Jones, who of course is Arnim Zola. They got the guy who plays Korath. They even got Jeff Goldblum for this, Tate. Michael Rooker. I mean, my God. And all, again, helmed up by Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher to kind of take us through all these what-if shows. And that's awesome. And if they can do something on the level of Spider-Verse with these and insert that same level of passion and detail and care into every frame, this could really be something special, these shows. This series. I mean, right now, I think it's just being dubbed as a single show. But, I mean, I kind of like to call them different shows because they're going to be covering different storylines, bouncing all over the place from what we can tell.
That's why I also think different animation styles would suit it well. Because we are, watching.
And it works so well with Spider-Verse, blending different animation styles into one movie. I mean, you can do that within one show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And second to last, we got Hawkeye coming in fall 2021. I know the logo is coming. I'm not too big of a fan, actually. Of course, they brought Jeremy Renner out on stage to, of course, confirm that Kate Bishop is indeed going to be in this series with him. I believe they have yet to cast her. But, I mean...
So it's confirmed not to be his daughter, right?
Yeah, I don't think Kate Bishop's actually going to be his daughter, but he's going to be
good.
training her up to be the next Hawkeye, and eventually Jeremy Renner will step down one day. But, Tate, I mean, we talked about this coming out of Endgame. It was just shocking how many major Avengers survived and how really it was just primarily Tony and Widow who went out. And so it's just crazy to me that Jeremy Renner is doing a Hawkeye series post-Endgame. That's awesome. I just never expected this to happen. I'm excited for it, man. But that's about it. That's all we got on it for now. What do you think?
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
all
man.
I mean,
And Thor, Love and Thunder coming out November 5th, 2021.
I like the logo a lot, dude. It looks like the comic books. I mean,
Oh, yeah, man.
You
And
know Thor comic
some
books, right?
big,
How they change the font of every single text box when there's an Asgardian on screen. I mean, I love it. Or on page.
Yeah.
I
And you got
love
some
Thor
pretty
comics.
big He-Man vibes coming off this, too.
That's literally what Thor is.
Yeah, I mean,
Thor is literally He-Man in the comic books, dude.
Listen, man. I mean, Tate, I'm not the biggest fan of Ragnarok. You're not either. I had a lot of problems with Ragnarok, mainly in the way of Hela, mainly in the way of the way the movie was shot, the way Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo were at that point just playing themselves instead of Thor or Bruce Banner.
Oh, dude, that's a crime.
I honestly thought Jeff Goldblum was. I didn't think Jeff Goldblum was that funny. I thought Scourge was a waste of Carl Urban, and I didn't like how so much of the character development and emotional beats for these characters in the Asgardians were played off for jokes. I mean, the destruction of Asgard was played off as a joke, and the wonder of Thor was stripped away.
I think they actually, I would say that they got rid of splendor. They got rid of wonder for splendor, if that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean,
Ragnarok
and
was
I'm in the
over the
unpopular,
top. It was big. It was booming.
but I'm in the minority of I actually really liked Thor 1 and the style and the
I thought
tone
it
they
was fine,
established.
dude. I thought it was fine. I mean,
I loved it. I loved Asgard. I loved the Asgardian. I loved Thor and the emotional drama between the characters. I know even Chris Hemsworth seemed to get exhausted. I mean, I think that's a shame.
yeah,
I think
no,
it's a shame because I mean,
the
and I
first two
it
Thor
sucks
movies,
being in the minority here
the first two Thor movies are
because
very Shakespearean in tone and temperament. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
not very MCU. But you know what? I kind of like back in the Phase One and part of Phase Two when each movie was tonally different and not everything was a joke. Like, dude, let me
right.
tell you, I always bring this up, Ross, and I don't know how much I bring this up on the podcast, probably a lot. But Doctor Strange would have been one of my favorite MCU movies if they didn't put unnecessary jokes.
Yeah,
Because Sirius
Beyonce
was played
jokes.
as a joke, dude. The cape was played like everything was a joke, dude.
Yeah,
It was a high tension, high. I mean, it really felt like a tense movie, and they play a joke, and everything we just worked up to felt for nothing, felt for naught. So
I get it, man. It is jarring and it does experience certain scenes, and I did, sure, I caught that too. It didn't ruin it for me as much.
it really
I
hurt.
still
It
felt
really
very
hurt my
satisfied in the
feelings.
end. I love Doctor Strange regardless. But yeah, man. So because I didn't like Thor Ragnarok as much, it doesn't hold up on home release. It was much better in the theater when you had an audience to enjoy it with, who could at least make you have a little bit more fun being in the room with that kind of energy to enjoy the movie, despite its narrative shortcomings. I can't say I'm too excited for Thor: Love and Thunder, even if
Why is she called
they
female Thor? Why is she called female? It's a mighty Thor, actually. You stupid
Yeah,
liberal.
oh my god. So
It's
Natalie Portman was cast as female Thor, and that really came out of left field.
yeah, that
I
was
mean,
weird. That was really weird.
they couldn't get her. I mean, obviously they had the extra footage, so they didn't need her for Endgame, but she had made it very clear that she was pretty much done with Marvel in the past.
Yeah, but
And
dude, then Marvel said, "Hey, Natalie Portman, you want?"
James.
Then they said, "Hey, Natalie Portman, you want like $30 million, $40 million?" And she's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
sure.
we'll
I guess
make
I'm
you
not
Thor, and we'll give you the hammer, and it's just like, yes,
Uh,
and that's awesome, man.
No,
I
dude,
mean,
it wasn't the hammer. It was the freaking $30-40 million. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
How much? I mean, honestly, she's getting paid more than Chris
100%.
Hemsworth. 100%, she's getting more than Chris Hemsworth. I think that would be my.
No, I can't. No, I
You
can't
don't
imagine
think
that.
so? You don't think so?
No,
I
that would be
think
weird.
I think she might be, dude. I mean, to get her back must have
No,
cost
dude, Chris
something
Hemsworth
pretty
is what makes Thor still work. The movie still wouldn't work without him as easily.
bad. Yeah, but if they wanted Natalie Portman that bad, dude, Disney owns Disney has a higher GDP than most countries, dude.
I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Hemsworth back as proper Thor, not the Endgame BS, and that we're gonna get Valkyrie. I mean, we've already had some great sequences with Valkyrie. She was by far Valkyrie was the best thing to come out of Ragnarok.
Oh
easily.
yeah, oh yeah. Is there gonna be a cat fight? Not a cat fight, a love triangle though. I mean, like that's kind of
Maybe,
weird.
who knows,
man.
man.
It's kind of cool that we're going back to the love shit in the MCU because it
Yeah,
felt out
and
of
I
place in the
really thought
beginning.
that there was. I thought it was possible that Chris Hemsworth was also going to dive out with Endgame, but he's sticking. He's
Dude,
hanging on, man.
He's getting paid like $40 million, $30 million a movie, dude.
I mean, it's not like he's really doing anything else in the way of
Men in
other
Black.
movies that are
Men in
worth.
Black. Hey,
Yeah,
Men in Black 3. Hey,
Like, why wouldn't he stick with Marvel?
Hey, do you want to? Hey, Valkyrie, whatever the actress's name is, you want to make a Men in Black 3 with me? Sure, Chris Hemsworth. Let's make a shitty movie and then go back to Marvel. God, dude. It just doesn't make sense to me sometimes.
But yeah, so I'll be honest, Tate. Part of me still wishes that we could have as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it looks like that's never going to happen.
No, get out of here, Ross. That's lame. That's Peter Quill has been
Why
shit
is it
on.
lame?
Peter Quill has been shit on for the past, 4 years. Alright? We need Peter Quill, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. We need that Peter Quill. Not him played as a joke in Infinity War. Not him played as a joke in Endgame. I want Peter Quill back. All
Yeah, dude,
right.
I want Peter Quill too, but I don't think throwing Thor and Valkyrie in there would really shake it up.
Scott Lang is a joke character, not Peter Quill. Get out of here.
No, I agree, man, but I still want Asgardians in a Guardians.
You know what, Ross?
Um,
Do I need to fly out there and beat your ass? Because I will, dude. I will.
Dude, no, Asgardians of the Galaxy would have been awesome.
Guys,
man.
YouTube boxing matches. MGF versus some...
Dude, I'm telling you, if they didn't have this Jane Foster announcement for Thor: Love and Thunder, I would not care. And the rumor is that Enchantress is going to be the villain of Thor 4 here, and that's awesome, man. I honestly, I remember, dude, I remember way back when, like, wondering why they were doing Hela first instead of Enchantress.
Yeah, but like, dude, I love the Enchantress idea because it just brings me back to Suicide Squad because it's just gonna be an antagonist like that.
Oh no, don't bring that up.
You know what I mean? I mean, come on.
No, it's gonna be better than that shit, dude. No,
it's gonna be way better, but it's just a funny thought because I mean those are clone characters.
Yeah, no, but I'm looking forward to Enchantress finally entering the end. That's true, but that also brought us to the end of the panel where they brought out Blade. So, any Wesley Snipes fans out there, it's not happening. He's not coming back. They got Mahershala Ali and Cottonmouth from Luke Cage is going to be our Blade, and so confirms the full decanonization, that's a new word, of the Marvel Netflix shows. A lot of people immediately jumped quick to be like, nope, other Marvel actors have played multiple roles, get it right. And I'm just like, okay.
MGF, what the hell was
but
that?
This makes to me
your computer? I feel like a bunch of, it sounded like keys just fell all over the screen. What the heck?
It's just annoying to me, man, because it's like it's so annoying when people keep trying to point this stuff out to me like I don't already know. I didn't watch every single episode of Agent Carter every single week.
Ross.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you had an actor in Agent Carter who was also in Avengers 2012. I mean, some people even went as far as to say that the actor who's now playing in Eternals, he was Jefferson Davis, he was Miles' dad in Into the Spider-Verse, and it's like, that's not even the same franchise, but okay. And it's like, listen, by casting Mahershala Ali as Blade after his time in Luke Cage, I think, and even though the actress who played Mariah Dillard in Luke Cage was also the woman in Civil War that pushed Tony over the edge, I think it's pretty clear. You have so many other people too who are like, it's like people can have similar faces. No. Not the exact same faces. Not a coincidence like that. As much as it pains me to say it, as somebody who followed the Netflix shows from beginning to end and loved Daredevil and loved the Defenders and loved a lot of Jessica Jones and Luke and all of it and the Punisher, they're not canon, man.
Sorry.
That to me was just kind of like a final indirect confirmation that those shows aren't canon, but I still hold very firm to the belief that they need to bring in the same cast from Daredevil at the very. I mean, even it's just a problem. They already got some of the best actors working today to portray the Defenders roles, and if they don't bring them back in the future, I don't know that I'll care. Because it's like Henry Cavill. Good luck finding a better Superman. It's like Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. Good luck finding a better. You're not going to do it. You're not going to find a better Daredevil. And so they also did, of course, at the very end, mention that, like we've been talking about this whole panel, Captain Marvel 2 is coming, Black Panther 2 is coming, Spider-Man 3 is coming. You've got all these other projects coming that we already knew were happening. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, of course, after James Gunn is done with the Suicide Squad. And then Feige did mention that mutants, which is a very all-encompassing term, not just X-Men. He said mutants. And the Fantastic Four are in development, and I can't wait for the X-Men and Fantastic Four to enter the MCU. That is by far the most exciting thing to look forward to with the MCU right now, is the Fantastic Four and the X-Men entering the MCU in the end of Phase 5, Phase 6, whenever. It's going to be awesome, man, and I cannot wait
I like that
for the future.
Though, dude, using mutants instead of X-Men. I like that. I do.
Yeah, because the X-Men name has been dragged through the dirt since Days of Future Past, man. And that's a shame. That's a shame, man. But either way, Avengers Endgame is hitting digital in a couple days on the 30th.
That
So
quick?
definitely.
I thought it was in August.
Well, the digital release was always 2 weeks before for movies, and so
Right. But I didn't know it was this quick, dude.
yeah, man, it's coming out in a few days, in like 3 days, and then the Blu-ray will be on the 13th. And I know I'm personally going to get my ass out of bed and head straight over to Target to make sure I secure a copy. But yeah, otherwise, Grand Theft Auto 5. This is so random. Just had the casinos update, and Tate and I.
We've been playing a lot of that.
Tate and I have been low-key gambling with Tait Carrillo. It's been great.
Guys, so
yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. GTA, the new Diamond Casino and Resort update ruined the engine. So there's money glitch after money glitch after money glitch. Every hour there's a new money glitch, and every 2 hours
It's pretty
they
great,
get patched. Like Ross, the one that we were using earlier, dude, was patched while we were using it. So we'll have to see if it still works here in a second. But guys, yeah, last night I put 50,000 GTA dollars on seven in roulette, and I ended up making $280,000 in one roulette spin. So
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, and finally, before we forget, thank you, Golden Light, for bringing that up. Actually,
the deleted scene right here.
Yeah, dude. To close out, there was is going to be on the Blu-ray, which is an alternate scene from the funeral scene for Tony Stark, and basically, as soon as Tony dies, Hawkeye kneels, and then Captain Marvel and Black Panther, and they all start to kneel. And while it's cool, it just gets progressively awkward.
No, I think they made the right choice, honestly.
Yeah, no, the funeral was much better. It was a much better call because it's better because not every character was really as personally connected to Tony. Not even Scott, not Captain Marvel, not the Wasp, not even Black Panther. I mean, they met each other, but they didn't know each other, and so even Mantis, she's so antisocial because she grew up with Ego on his planet. She still barely knows how to interact with people, so she's just standing there while the greatest hero of all time is dying right in front of her, and she doesn't even know. It's just very awkward when Star-Lord kneels. I know even people who are awkward and goofy kneel and pay respect when it's necessary in big major moments like that, but there was just something awkward about, Chris Pratt as Peter Quill kneeling. It was weird. It was weird, man. And at first I was like, this is really cool. And we get to see where all the Avengers were as Tony was dying. And it's strange. And it's almost kind of like the A-Force scene. How would all of those Avengers have shown up right there to see Tony die? Right. And, be standing there, and there weren't even any other bad actors. Obviously, I guess they would have been edited in maybe, but this is a very strange scene, and I get why they cut it. The funeral is definitely the right call.
Yeah.
But I still wish we could have a statue of Iron Man, of Tony Stark, erected at some point. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
That was, for me, that was the perfect cherry on top of The Dark Knight Rises.
Right. Yeah, we should have seen that in Homecoming, dude. He should have, instead of that big mural, it should have been a big statue in the middle of New York.
Yeah, I hope that. And it sucks because I don't think there's an opportunity for it. I mean, all the projects that are coming up, you look at any of those, and there's no opportunity for an Iron Man statue.
Far From Home was the.
Yeah, that was it, and they didn't do it, so that's a shame.
Yeah. Who knows, though, that this Falcon and Winter Soldier show,
What's up? You got out.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a place in that.
Yeah, if they don't do it then, it's never happening.
Are we going to see Chris Evans as an old man in that show at all, or no?
Yeah, that's something I'm really wondering if they're going to address. Like, what happened to Steve Rogers? Are they just going to say, "Oh yeah, we took him back to HQ"? Well, no, HQ is gone. We took him back to Brooklyn, and he passed away.
He just died.
Yeah, what? I wonder how they're going to address that. because he was still alive. He didn't seem like he was dying. You know.
No, I don't think I will. Are you gonna die, Steve? No, I don't think I will.
He's like, so all right. I guess Steve just hung out for a few more years, and I'm very curious.
Just DH him, Hulk.
Address that. Yeah, I mean seriously.
No, but then you have to take into his sanity and him as a character and
Yeah, but I mean seriously, if they wanted to, if he's not dying, they could literally just do that to him and just DH Steve, and we've got him back, no problem.
I wonder what happens. Like let's say Steven had a heart attack and he's facing repercussions from that, or had a stroke and he's facing repercussions from that. If you DH him, does he still have the effects of that stroke caused by old age, or is it reverted? So many things we could speculate about, but
but Marvel will probably never address. But anyway,
guys,
so concludes episode 18 of the MGF Podcast. Everybody, thank you.
I do want to include really quick. Ross and I are going to be streaming some GTA tonight.
Oh yeah,
on Twitch. So that'll be cool. I used to live stream. I live streamed for like a good 4 months.
Yeah.
Or so.
What time do you want to do the stream, Tate?
Dude, I'm not sure. I mean, I have to work until 6. I'll probably be like 7 my time, which is like 10 Eastern, which is late. But I'll DM me on Instagram if you even care to come watch it, and I can send you.
Or just Tate, you can drop it in the link in the description.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that once the podcast is uploaded.
Yeah, man. So if we do it on YouTube or Twitch, the link will be.
Twitch is probably easier. I have to figure out my streaming software because it's been so essentially. My background is I used to stream for like 4 months. I figured out all the streaming stuff, and then I just stopped doing it because I went to Costa Rica to do charity work, and then my legs healed for a minute, and then they got damaged again, and I just kind of fell out of it, but anyway, yeah, I want to start doing it again. I think that'd be fun, especially with the new GTA update. And,
yeah, man.
Ross and I have a lot of fun, just playing games, being dickheads. So
yeah,
it would be fun to share that with you guys, I suppose.
Alrighty.
Anyway, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, and all right, take care, everybody. Until next time.
Yeah, and remember, guys, we are inevitable. See you all later.